Who was this man that they say predicted the future? A mystic? A fraud? A misunderstood genius? Born Michel de Nostradamus in 1503 in Saint-Rémy de Provence, France, Nostradamus was far more than just a prophet scribbling cryptic quatrains by candlelight. He was a trained physician during the time of the Black Plague. A philosopher. And yes, he became one of the most famous names in the world for his alleged ability to see into the future. But how did a French apothecary come to be a global symbol of prediction, feared and revered in equal measure centuries after his death? This video uncovers his origins, his most famous predictions, and why, even today, his work still haunts and fascinates us. Before we begin, if you're fascinated by hidden history, prophecy, and the mysteries that still echo through time, be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment below to support this growing community of seekers, thinkers, and truth explorers. Nostradamus was raised in a Jewish family that converted to Catholicism under pressure, but he never abandoned his spiritual curiosity. He was educated in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew and was immersed in classical literature and astrology from a young age. After losing his family to the plague, he traveled across Europe studying medicine, philosophy, and esoteric wisdom. He became well known as a healer during the plague outbreaks of the 16th century, not for curing the illness per se, but for his innovative use of hygiene, clean water, and herbal remedies. Even in his medical work, there was something otherworldly about him. He saw sickness not just as physical imbalance, but as a symptom of something spiritual. This worldview shaped the man he would become, the one we remember today. Around the 1540s, Nostradamus began stepping into the role that would make him a legend. Drawing on astrology, biblical texts, ancient prophecies, and possibly even Kabbalistic teachings, he began writing Les Prophéties, a series of 942 cryptic quatrains, 4-line poems, that appeared to predict everything from the fall of kings to the rise of tyrants. His most famous predictions include the rise of Napoleon, the reign of Adolf Hitler, the Great Fire of London, and even the attacks of September 11, 2001. But these predictions are deliberately vague, open to interpretation, and rich in metaphor, a strategy he used, in part, to avoid persecution by the Catholic Inquisition. Still, people across centuries have returned to his verses, claiming they contain truths only visible in hindsight. So what made Nostradamus different from countless other mystics and fortune-tellers of his time? For one, he never claimed to be a prophet in the religious sense. Instead, he described his visions as coming in dreams, trance states, and meditations, often while staring into a bowl of water or flame. He viewed time as cyclical, not linear, and believed that the same archetypal events repeated through history. His work wasn't about knowing exact dates, it was about recognizing patterns, forces, and energies that shape the world. And this is where we can still relate to him today. Because in our age of chaos, misinformation, and uncertainty, many still turn to the ancient or mystical in search of meaning. Nostradamus represents that eternal human yearning to make sense of the unknown. His legacy is a paradox. Some see him as a brilliant astrologer whose cryptic verses unlocked timeless truths, while others dismiss him as a clever poet whose fame comes from coincidence and flexible interpretation. But what cannot be denied is the psychological and cultural impact his writings continue to have. His works have been translated into dozens of languages, adapted into films, and dissected by scholars and conspiracy theorists alike. And each time disaster strikes, war, disease, political upheaval, his name resurfaces. Nostradamus, somehow, always seems to echo in the background when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. But beyond the drama and the doom, there's something deeply human about his work. Nostradamus wasn't obsessed with destruction, he was trying to warn, to guide, and perhaps to comfort. His predictions weren't meant to trap us in fear, but to awaken us to the cycles of history, the fragility of power, and the potential for personal and collective transformation. His verses force us to reflect on the choices we make, the patterns we repeat, and the consequences of ignoring wisdom that may be inconvenient, mystical, or uncomfortable. Whether or not you believe he truly saw the future, he undoubtedly shaped how we think about it. In many ways, Nostradamus can be seen as a symbol of the human subconscious itself, deep, symbolic, and often misunderstood. His work invites us to think more mythically, to interpret events not just logically, but archetypally. To see how shadow and light move through history. If Carl Jung explored the internal landscape of the psyche, Nostradamus explored the symbolic future that emerges from it. His prophecies, like dreams, are not always literal, but they're never random. They speak in riddles because our future is always unfolding, reshaping, and dependent on the collective path we choose. For those looking to begin their own journey into understanding Nostradamus, a good starting point is not just his prophecies, but the time in which he lived. The 1500s were turbulent, marked by plague, religious war, political collapse, and scientific revolution. In this environment, people needed meaning, direction, and a sense that history was not just chaos, but choreography. Nostradamus gave them that. He gave them mystery, language to hold their fear, and a strange reassurance that perhaps this had all happened before, and would happen again. And in doing so, he became something rare, not just a man of his time, but a voice across time. Even now, as new interpretations of his work emerge and global tensions rise, people ask the same question: did Nostradamus foresee this? Whether he did or not, the deeper question remains: what are we choosing not to see today? What patterns are repeating? What warnings are we ignoring? Perhaps the real power of his legacy isn't in prediction, but in perception. In teaching us how to see what lies beneath the surface, and in reminding us that the future is always shaped by the choices we make in the present. Thank you for watching, fellow seekers of mystery and meaning. May Nostradamus remind us that the future isn't something to fear, but something to shape. Stay curious, stay awake, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.